Hi again. And here we are at part 4 in this series on how to fail in retirement planning. And as a reminder, this series is a collection of not only studies that I've gone through academically, but also through observation over the past many years from people that, through maybe sometimes no fault of their own, things didn't work out. And so hopefully, even though the title may be a little curious and maybe a little bit off-putting for this series, it really is not how to fail, but how to see how others may have failed so you don't do the same. Today, I'm going to be talking about the risk of living too long, longevity risk, which seems a little bit counterintuitive. Well, most of us would like to live a long, happy life, but are you planning for that? And there are a few ways to look at it. Obviously, we can't tell for sure. Nobody can how long you're going to live. But some of the biggest problems I've seen in planning are when people don't plan to live long and they've outlived their money. So how do you know what age to even use? Well, genetics has a lot to do with it. Look at your family history, your own personal health and habits, or perhaps hazardous lifestyle could also play a factor. If you're each at age 65 already or 60, remember, the older that you both are at that point in time, the higher the chance that one of you will live longer. In other words, if each of you is 65, chance that one of you will live till 90 goes up quite a bit. There's also a website that you may find enlightening. It's called livingto100.com. There's a calculator on that site. You fill in some information, general information, and it gives you an idea, an estimate on how long you might live. If you really aren't sure, or you don't want to go through the trouble of trying to estimate, pick a high number. It's better to run out of life when you still have money than to run out of money when you still have life to live. So once you've agreed upon that age or ages, if you're planning as a couple, now it's time to do the financial planning. So looking at a scenario, I can show you just a couple examples without getting into the numbers, but just visually how that would look if somebody picks a certain plan that looks like it's going to work, let's say to age 80, but then they live to age 85 or 90, that there's a drastic difference. How do you offset that? Well, one, you retire later, put it off for a year or 2 or 3, because you're going to need to make sure you'll be okay. 2, you save enough money before you retire, or you agree to spend less to make sure that you'll be okay in the later years. And 3, another option would be to semi-retire. Work part-time, maybe quit your full-time job or work less in that job, or do something you've always wanted to do for a few years. It does have more of an impact than you might imagine. I'll include a link below in the description to a video that I've done addressing just that semi-retirement. So let's briefly look at just a simple scenario, again, just to show you visually someone that had enough, looked just fine at age 80. In fact, they had more than enough, but then they lived to 85 or lived till age 90 or 95. You see, there's a tremendous difference. It takes a lot of money to fund several years of income in retirement. Now, I'm not doing this video or this series to depress you. I'm doing it to prepare you. If it's a little bit overwhelming or there are so many things to think about, you're not sure what to do, well, as I've done in many other videos, my suggestion would be maybe work with a financial professional, one who's experienced in retirement income planning. I really hope this is helping, and actually, if this helps one person or one couple, then I feel pretty good about what I've been doing. During our final segment, we're going to be talking about something that, to be honest, people don't like to think about, but I've actually been experiencing this with clients in the last several years more and more. We're not getting any younger, and that's the loss of a loved one. How do you deal with that? Not just financially, but what are the things you need to think about if something were to happen to your partner? So please return and join me for the last segment of this series. I hope you find this whole thing useful. It's one of the most important series I've done in financial planning or financial preparing.